Hi, Lael. Thank you for joining us today. I am Kate, and where are you calling in from today?
Calling from Tucson, Arizona.
Yay. I'm so excited to have you here today, and I just want to give you a brief intro. I'm going to just read your bio that I have on your page. So Lael was born and raised in Anchorage, Alaska. Lael is the first female ultra-endurance cyclist in the world, notably winning the 4,300-mile Trans-American Bike Race in 2016 and setting the record for the 2,750-mile Tour Divide in 2015. Those are huge. Lael,
Long.
yeah, right? Long. I can't wait to dive into some of that with you. Lael has spent the past 11 years traveling around the world on her bicycle, logging over 100,000 miles in 35 countries. This is amazing. Lael also organizes a teenage girls bicycle adventure program in her hometown and has hosted 2 international women's scholarships. So I'm super excited about that, Lael. And I think, one thing I wanted to say, we talked a little bit offline, but I didn't mention to you is I love your mission and how to get women into cycling. And it's one of my biggest missions too. So it's wonderful to connect with you and to talk to you a little bit about your adventure and who you are and what you have coming up. So thank you again for your time today.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm going to start off with some fun questions for you. So what was your plan in life before you started cycling? Because you started cycling in your 20s, correct?
I did. Yeah. So before that, I started riding in college just to get to and from work. And at that time, I was on track to go to medical school.
Wow.
Yeah. So I double majored in French and chemistry. And then I thought, I'll graduate, I'll go to medical school and I'll be a doctor. And then I started riding my bike and that just totally took over my life and it went in a very different direction.
Wow. So how did that take over your life? Like just one day it popped into your head or?
Yeah, so I got the bike to ride to work, it's 4 miles away. Before that, I'd walk everywhere or run. I was a long distance runner. I've never had a car, really don't know how to drive. And then work was just too far away. I had to get a bike. And then riding to and from work, I realized, well, if I could ride to work, I could ride to the next city over to visit my sister. So I did that. I rode from Tacoma to Seattle. I had a fixed gear, it was something like 45 miles. And I thought, this is incredible. If I could ride to Seattle, I could ride across the country, and it was like this wild idea. I'd never heard of anybody really doing that. And I just thought, this is how I want to live, not as a career, but as like a way to see my country to start out with. So then that was my next big goal. And I worked as a waitress to save money to do it. And then started kind of this pattern of traveling by bike and then working to save money and then going on the next trip and did that for the next 7 years.
Wow.
Before I ever thought of racing. So it was just adventure. And I thought, I'd probably rather be running, but it's so much easier to make longer distance and carry stuff on a bike that I stuck with the bike.
That's wonderful. And you do multiple types of riding. What is your favorite type of riding that you do?
Yeah, so I really like it all. I like the mix, but the thing I probably focus most on is just dirt roads with tons of climbing.
Yeah.
So there's a race through the Rockies called the Tour Divide that I've focused on. I've raced it 3 times from Canada to Mexico. And then little races are popping up all over the world that are similar to that. So in Switzerland and Kyrgyzstan, all over Europe. And then what a way to see, other places.
So this explains the 35 countries that you've traveled to. And so you've just been traveling to hit these races.
Yeah, well, it started with just riding to tour just to see them. And then at that time, I would take a race route and just ride it as a tour. And the first race I entered was actually in Israel. I was riding through the Middle East and I realized I'd still be there when the race happened. So I thought, well, this is so beautiful. You're riding through downtown Jerusalem. You're riding to all these biblical places. I thought, what about the race? I'm just gonna see how it goes. And then I entered the race. I was the only woman. I just had my touring set up, and by the end of the first day, I was winning the whole race. And I thought, wow, yeah, I'd never know that I was good at this until I just did it. So, and it was fun. This kind of racing, it's self-supported, it's an adventure. And I thought, gosh, this is just, it's like every day feels like a week because you get to see so much and experience so much. So that I did that in 2015. And then since then, I've been doing a combination of both racing and traveling and now the girls programs and the women's scholarships to, because I get to as a sponsored athlete. So it's fun to mix it up.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, the racing is super exciting.
I love that. And so what has been your favorite race thus far? I know they're all probably different, but what, if I were to have you pick just one, what is your most favorite?
I'm going back this June to race the Hope 1000 in Switzerland. And that's probably my favorite. It's 1,000K, so 620 miles and 100,000 feet of climbing.
Wow.
So, and it's in the Swiss Alps. So it's just these kind of craggy, rocky mountains, and then you're up and down and beautiful lakes. And it's so idyllic, you know, and so hard, but also as far as like food and water, that's so easy because it's everywhere. So it's really just a physical challenge through a beautiful place.
That's wonderful.
So I'd say that's my favorite.
Awesome. So many questions popped to mind. There's so much time, so many things I want to ask. So first off, is there any piece of equipment that you take with you that is just kind of a habit? You don't usually use it. You've never used it, but you always feel like you have to bring it. Do you have one of those?
Oh my gosh. Some of the little repair stuff, like something like a derailleur hanger. It's like, I've actually had to use it a couple times. But that's always the one thing, like if this breaks, no shop's ever going to have it. There are over 100 different kinds. So, it's sometimes it feels like you're just carrying around rocks, but then you need them just in case, it's like, I always have a little bottle of super glue, and I've used it too, but most of the time it's just there. I guess the thing is, it's like, I'm happy if I don't have to use it, but then if I don't have it, I'm screwed. So just these little odds and ends. I try to tuck them away so I don't think about them until I need it.
Until you absolutely need it. So I know we don't have much time, so I just want to dive into some of the nutrition with you. So what does your daily nutrition look like? And does it change from, like when you travel? Does it change during training? Does it change during your races?
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. So when I'm racing, it's self-supported. So I can only bring really enough food for a day. So I'm buying food along the way. And often that's just at convenience stores or, anywhere I can really find it. And I don't want to take the time to sit in a restaurant and eat. I eat everything on the bike. So it's like, if I, I'll stop at a gas station and get a quart of milk and drink that, or really whatever I can find. It's not delicious, but gosh, during a race, I used to try to consume 10,000 calories a day, which is ridiculous. It's disgusting. Like, it's a lot and it doesn't taste good, and you're working so hard, you don't want to eat, but Europe's great because they have bakeries, so everything actually tastes good. But then if I'm not racing, then I really do love food. I love cooking. I love salads and avocado toast with eggs and rice and, like fresh, real food.
That's awesome.
So then it's good. That's good to have in between.
Absolutely.
To have something actually good to eat and healthier that makes me feel good. But during the race, it's like eating is a job. You just have to do it.
Whatever.
Anything you can find, and then if I find something like pizza, I'm just so happy because it tastes fine cold,
absolutely.
Instead of like an old hot dog or something.
I can't even imagine.
Oh, it's horrible.
What is like the worst thing you've eaten?
Oh gosh.
Thinking of that. Can you think?
One time they didn't have milk, so I drank half and half instead.
Ooh.
Not good.
I think I saw your post on that on Instagram. I think when it said you got milk and you said, in my case, half and half. Now I understand what you mean by that.
Not good. But sometimes it's like, and it's different in different countries. So in Mexico, I was eating these little burritos, and those were actually great. I'd get like 10 at a time and eat it for the whole day. Just like a bean burrito, super simple. Kyrgyzstan was more like fried bread. And it just was not good.
Must not have settled well.
So sometimes it's like, and then you just have what you have, and there isn't food for 100 miles. So you're like, well, it's not good, but I'll just eat it.
Yeah. If you were to be able to pick from things, like what would be your most favorite snack, like your go-to snack, if you had like an infinite choice of snacks?
I know that's so tough. Because it's like nothing looks appealing after a while. But then that's the thing I do is like anything that looks somewhat appealing, I'm like, great. Like potato chips or, drinkable yogurt. I mean, gosh, I guess if I could pack ice cream, I would do that.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
good.
because it melts.
That's great. What about bonking? Have you ever bonked before?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You
Could
know,
you
I try
explain?
not to while I race,
Yeah.
just because it's so hard to come back. But definitely
Yeah.
during a tour where I'm like, well, I just don't have any food. Or during a race, I run out and then your mind is just like, I just need food. I just need food. And it just starts like dreaming of all these different kinds of food. You know? But that, yeah, I mean, I guess I just keep moving forward until I get somewhere, you know,
Yeah.
but that's definitely, I mean, the whole thing is it's all about, you know, averages for these big events that take up to 2 weeks. It's like, okay, what's your average moving time? You know, so
Yeah.
anything you can minimize stopping, because then that's so hard to bring up your pace again if it's zero. So
Right.
anything to keep moving forward, and then anything to keep moving forward to the best of my ability, given that, you know, I'm not at the top of my game pretty much ever,
Yeah.
because you feel so bad, you know,
Right.
after the first day your legs just aren't the same anymore. But that's just how it goes.
I've heard that it's more the longer you go, or as you're going on these rides, your body just gets conditioned. It kind of starts to feel kind
Yeah,
of crappy, but then over time it starts to adjust to all that. Have you found that with all of these that you've
totally.
done? Yeah.
Totally. And then, you know, you can feel such extreme pain for the first week and then it's gone.
Yeah.
Like in my knees during the Trans Am, my knees were just killing me, like just aching from that grind. And then after a week, they were fine. You know, and it's like,
It's like your
how is
second
that
wind.
possible?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just happens. Or you're like, you just, yeah, you get used to really anything over time. It's the body is amazing how you
It
can
is.
recover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you give it what it needs, right? The way it
Or
recovers is,
try to.
yeah,
Yeah.
or try
I
to.
mean, I think my biggest challenge for the Trans Am was the heat.
Yeah.
There was this incredible heat wave. So it hit 106 most of the days.
Wow.
Uh, so, and then you can't take breaks, you know, in the
Right.
middle of the afternoon heat. It's like you just have to ride through it. So that was really, really hard. But I found the thing that worked the best was just soaking all of my clothes as much as I possibly
Smart.
could. And then
Yeah.
that kept me cool for like half an hour until they were just bone dry.
Right.
And then I try to do it again.
It definitely evaporates quickly when you're out
It sure
in that kind of
does.
a heat, for sure. So what gets you to keep getting back on the bike, Lael? You know, these are all very long races. They're all grinding,
Yeah.
as you know, call it. So what keeps getting you back on the bike?
Yeah. Like during the race, I'm just like, every minute counts. I'm like, okay, I have to do whatever I can to get back on the bike. And then being self-supported too. It's like, if I have a mechanical, don't stress out, try to fix it and get back on the bike. And then that's just like, I'm motivated by the thought of overall winning the race, you know, beating all the guys. I'm like, it's possible, which is amazing. It's like very rare in sports that women get to compete with the full field. So, yeah, and I'm just driven to do my best, you know, and then even if nobody else knows, I'll know, you know,
Right.
that I didn't do it. So I have to do everything I can, because otherwise, you know, after I finish, that'll come back to haunt me. And I'll think, well, if I didn't waste all that time doing this thing, or, you know, then I'll remember, and then I'll feel like I have to do it again, you
Yeah.
know. And for something like the Trans Am, it's like, I never want to do it again. It was too hard. So I'm like, this better be it.
Well, then it must be harder than the transcontinental, because you said you've done that one a couple of
Oh,
times. So
yeah, it's so hard.
yeah,
Yeah, it's so long. I
it
mean, it's
is
just
long.
longer than most races, you know, and then you get to the halfway point and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm just in Kansas. You know,
Right.
it's like, that's incredible
It is
that you're like,
incredible.
okay, I still have another over 2,000 miles to go, you know, but
To think
I mean,
about.
what a way to see the country,
Yeah.
and going to places I never thought I'd go, like Kentucky.
Like, what's in Kentucky, right?
Yeah,
Like, what's in Kansas?
exactly.
Besides beautiful country, right? I mean, it is
A lot of nice people in Kansas.
really, that's
Even
awesome.
at the gas station, they'd be like, thank you so much for visiting.
Oh my gosh, that's
It's
great.
so sweet.
So I know we only have a few more minutes left, so I want to ask you. So as I mentioned at the beginning, you're all about getting women involved too, because you know, as you just briefly said too, women are the minority in a lot of the sports, especially cycling. So what do you think would encourage more women to take up this sport?
Yeah, I think more encouragement and more specific. So more role models, more women just doing it, more women achieving great results, more media about women, and then more like specific events. So I organize a girls program that's for 12 and 13-year-old girls to go on a big bike adventure. We do a mentorship program. I do a couple women's scholarships where women have to design their own 1,000-mile routes.
Wow.
Put together a budget, a plan, and everything, and then maybe 2 of them out of 200 win it. But it's like more specific, like putting a woman or a girl in the place where it's like they're making the choices to do an adventure, and then they believe it's possible. I'm also organizing a women's bikepacking challenge where we ride like a 300-mile stretch of the Great Divide Route in Colorado, and it's like the challenge is to finish in a week. And you have to be self-supported, you have to bring your own stuff, but having something like an event makes women feel like, oh, I could be one of those people, and it's like, instead of it being somebody else. And then, 100 women do it this year and they tell all their friends, and then maybe, that influence will spread. So maybe 1,000 women will believe they could do something like that too, and then make it happen.
Wow, that's so
Yeah,
inspiring.
it has to feel like a little more like reality, like not just this woman could do it, wow, but or the like women believing like I could do it, and that's so cool to see, because you see that light go up, and it's a lot of hard work. But I feel like the women in sport have just been so discouraged or doubted, like, oh, you're not strong enough, is that safe, all these questions. And it's like, well, by establishing examples, then it shows, oh yeah, this woman could do it. And then by providing opportunities, more women believe they could do it too.
I think that's wonderful. Thank you for doing that stuff and, keeping it going and inspiring others. I mean, you've inspired me. I'm doing the TABR, so
Yeah, it's going to be
virtually.
awesome.
I mean, we can't compare apples to apples, but doing it virtually does have its challenges too. So hopefully one day I could do it in person, in real life, like you did. And before we let you go, can you share with us what your next big adventure is?
Yeah, so on Friday, I'm flying to Seattle, and then I'm going to focus the next month on the Oregon Outback. So it's a route that goes through Eastern Oregon from basically Hood River to Klamath Falls. And then the goal with that will be to ride the route as a tour, make a video, and then also do a time trial on it to beat the current record, which is 27 hours.
Wow.
It's something like, I think it's like 360 or 380 miles. So it's definitely going to be tough.
That is going to be tough.
But it's going to be, it's also for me kind of refreshing because it's only a single day effort. It's like I ride through the night and then I'm done. No camping stuff, no gas or very minimal gas station stops.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I've never seen it before. So excited
cool.
for that.
Yeah. And how much elevation are you getting in that one?
Not that much.
Not that much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah. That's
but
totally
also
unfortunate
because I love the climbing,
Yeah.
So
that's what I was going to say. It's totally different for you in that aspect.
I know. Maybe easier, but maybe not as much fun.
I bet it will be. You seem to make things a lot of fun. And so can you tell us a little bit about this Alaska idea that you have going on?
Yeah. So actually I just finished a scholarship with Alaska.
You did. Okay.
So 2 women got full scholarships to ride 1,000-mile adventures this summer, and I announced that last week. Okay. And then the other thing I've done that's been an ongoing project for a few years is riding all the major roads in Alaska. Yeah, I first did that in 2017 by myself. I went back with my girlfriend last year to make a video about it, which we put out. It's about 5,000 miles and goes all over the state. And then this summer I'll go back and ride a time trial from Prudhoe Bay, Dead Horse to Valdez. Wow. As fast as I can. So it's 850 miles and it follows the whole pipeline.
That is crazy.
Probably half dirt, half pavement.
Wow.
So we'll see,
amazing.
Maybe 4 days. I don't know.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to follow that one.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. And we'll do that early July. So it'll basically be light all night. I can just ride through the night. And it's amazing up there. Herds of caribou, bears, you know, all kinds of animals.
I
So I'm
love it up
excited for
there.
it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And so how can people connect with you if they want to know more about you, find you, ask you questions? Where can they do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Instagram's probably the best.
Okay.
Just my name, Lael Wilcox. And then on YouTube, we have a bunch of videos about different adventures.
Okay, wonderful. And so I'll make sure I put that stuff in the contact notes for everyone so that they can contact you. I appreciate that. And thank you for your time today, Lael. I appreciate you. Such an inspiration. And keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks so much. Great talking with you.
Nice talking to you as well. Thank you.
I think that's a great question. I think we should ask them. But if I were to just think about the things that they've said and the questions that they've asked as to why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I do what I do, I think it's always been anything that I do, they question why. But if you were to ask them, they'd say I'm crazy. They say it all the time. But one thing, they might not understand why, and they think I'm crazy, but they are huge supporters of mine, and they're definitely big fans. They're my biggest fans. I so appreciate all their support. I'm very thankful for that. But if you were to ask them, they definitely would say that I'm crazy. accident. Yeah, I've had one. And not on my road bike. And I don't plan on having one. I got into an accident with my fat bike when I first got it. I want to say it was probably the second or third time I got on the bike. And I was on a trail that I shouldn't have been on. It was really technical. And I don't know to this day how it happened, but I did wake up at the bottom of a tree on the ground, and I had to pick up my bike and bring it out. And this trail was even hard to hike on. The handlebars were shifted so much I couldn't push the bike out. And I don't even know how I picked up the bike and I don't even know how I got back to my truck. But I was able to find my way out of the woods, and I got there, and I ended up having a concussion. I had some nerve damage, which I still have a little bit of issues from. This was probably about 4 years ago, because I started mountain biking about 4 years ago. So yeah, it was quite the experience. The good thing is I got right back on the bike after I healed and continued riding. I guess that is the biggest thing that people say when you crash or you have a bad mishap on the bike, just get back up and keep going. So I was able to do that, and here I am. I'm still on it.
One of the reasons why I decided to join Peak Triathlon Coaching was because I started considering going back to training for a purpose, not just exercising in my basement or working out for fun, doing videos. And I was a competitive swimmer growing up, and there was a local triathlon race down the road that I drove by getting into my neighborhood. So I signed up. And just to see what it was like, I figured, it's an hour and a half race. I could at least muscle my way through that. And anybody could ride a bike and run for 3 miles. And I had the swimming part. So I did my first race, and it was so much fun. And I met a lot of just friendly people. It was competitive, but very local community feeling. And a lot of folks were from Peak wearing the orange and blue. So naturally, I asked them what that was all about, and made a few friends and a few connections, and learned that a lot of them were local and would exercise at the YMCA like I did. And so I started getting a little bit more serious about my training, and I wanted to have a little bit more purpose because it was fun. And after the first race, I got the bug and I wanted to do another one. And then I wanted to do a longer race. So, I did a couple of races on my own, and using some online platforms and things. And but I did meet Colin through the group, and was invited to do some swim workouts and some cycling workouts. And after meeting him and seeing the structure of the workouts that he could provide, and just learning a little bit about him, and that I didn't have to be an elite athlete like he is to be part of the team, I just decided to work with him. And it's been great. It's been so much fun. I've met so many people with lots of different backgrounds, but a lot of people are working parents like me. A lot of people had competitive, a history of competitive sports when they were in college. And, I was really inspired because honestly, I felt like if they can do it, I can do it. And I also wanted to be an inspiration to my kids, especially my little girls. So, I am so happy that I signed up to work out with Colin, because not just with him, I've met lots of great people. This year, it's all been on Zoom, and we've done a lot of virtual workouts together, especially cycling workouts, and it's been amazing. And I've met virtually a lot of men and women who have similar schedules and a lot of different goals, but a lot of folks are doing races even a lot bigger than mine, Ironman and half Ironman races, and some folks are doing anything in between. And I would say I've actually really enjoyed meeting a lot of other women as well. Some of them I've gotten to meet now in person, doing some track workouts now that COVID is kind of start slowly disappearing, and we're able to get in person and meet folks. And it's just been so great, because to have this other network of like-minded women and men that have careers, have lives, have families. We all have different backgrounds, but no matter how fast or how how serious we are about the sport, how much time we can commit to training, there's a really great sense of support and community with the Peak team. And I don't know, I really look forward to all of my workouts. Yes, Colin is an awesome coach, and I love the workouts he gives me, because I know I can talk to him at any time if I have any questions, if I don't understand something, and he helps set my goals. I have a race that I've set up that I wanted to do as my A race. So he structures my workouts for that. And he's even helped me with, my running technique, which is what I really need help with. I'm very grateful for that. And because I'm not a very good runner, but I've gotten better. And, I haven't gotten injured, knock on wood. So I think that's a really important piece too, because I'm in my 40s, and I definitely don't want to injure myself, because I don't know if I could get right back up again like I did when I was in college. So overall, it's been a great experience. And even when my races are done, I really hope that, the group of local folks that I've met, especially some of the ladies around the neighborhood, and, we swim and run together, and I don't know, cooking together. It's just been really fun. We've even met each other's children. It's been great.
The furthest I cycled in real life was 125 miles. It was just a couple months after I started road cycling, and I did the Vermont 100. So that's the whole route that covers Vermont from one tip to the next. So it starts in Canada, the Vermont border of Canada, all the way down to the Massachusetts border. So that was 225 miles. But I broke it up into 2 days. So the first day I did 125 miles, and then I finished it the next day. So that was in real life. On my trainer, I did it a couple weeks ago. I did just over 200 miles on my trainer. So that is the furthest I have cycled so far. how confident am I with doing repairs on the fly? Well, I can say that these are all the repairs that I have to do on my bike, so you'll have to stay tuned. So I have to put on a new front derailleur, a rear cassette, some new front crank sets, and then of course my new chain. I haven't done much repair on a road bike before, but I have done, my tires. I know how to do that. I know how to check the pressure, that kind of stuff. If I get a flat, I can easily repair that stuff. Now, to do any more technical things is gonna be a learning curve for me. So I'm excited to learn how to do all of this and learn how to, maintain my bike. This is something that I'm going to have to do on TABR, the Trans-American Bike Race. It's a self-supported ride. So if anything should happen, I have to do the repairs. So hence why I'm learning how to do this stuff. So I do have a friend that was a bike mechanic and is going to teach me how to do all of this stuff. So stay tuned for those videos. It's going to be a learning curve for me, and it'll probably be very entertaining for you guys. Coping with the pandemic has been quite easy, actually. I have RGT to thank for that. I decided back in, I want to say August, I was going to do the Trans-American Bike Race. And that's when I knew I had to get an indoor trainer. And so thankful that I was able to do that. In the midst of all the pandemic, everything's hard to get. Everything was hard to get. Anything that had to do with exercise was hard to get here in the United States. So I was very grateful and thankful that I was able to get a trainer. So to say that the pandemic was hard for me, it would be, I just can't say that. I almost feel guilty that I don't feel as affected from the pandemic as most people. I've been working from home now for 2.5 years, so that didn't disrupt my normal routine. The only thing that got disrupted was the cycling, going outside, and didn't have to do that this year because it's so much easier to just jump on my trainer. My desk is on one side of this room and my trainer's on the other. So this is where I spend my day. In between my clients, I jump on to my trainer. So having to say that, the pandemic was a bad thing, actually it wasn't for me. It really didn't feel any different. So I can't say that it's been a stressful time for me. I can say that it has brought me a lot of amazing friends. The RGT community has been amazing. I have to say that I never have been a social biker. The biking around here that I did at home was all by myself. It never was with a club. Other than when I went and did some mountain biking, I'd have a couple friends I would go with occasionally. But for the most part, I would do the road by myself. Not too many people wanted to do the distances that I was doing or the elevation that I was doing. So I was pretty much on my own for the road cycling. So RGT has been a heaven sent for me and something that I really, really took to over the winter months. And it has made me such a stronger cyclist as well. So I'm so thankful that I had RGT to help cope with the pandemic.
I did my first Ironman in 2015 and I had a rough day for sure. So in 2016, I started researching coaches and I found Peak Triathlon Coaching, and I spent some time talking to Colin. We kind of aligned on my goals, and I basically told him, I want to get to Kona. That was my thing. And that's kind of a big, kind of a mouthful to give to a coach right off the bat and said, I've completed an Ironman. I walked the last 7 miles of the Ironman, but I think if I'm coached, I can do a lot better. So I signed up with Colin, and it's an interesting one where you become a good soldier. So you basically just follow the protocol and do what he says and do the nutrition plan. I even have in front of me here, I have my little race plan that I use from Peak, and I read it like many times going into a race. And once I execute on that, that's really the biggest thing for me has been being able to follow a plan, stick to a plan, make a plan, stick to a plan, and follow that plan and execute well in a race, especially to run off the bike in a long course triathlon. So I have yet to have a bad race because of bad nutrition since I signed out on Colin, and we keep working together and we enjoy spending time together, racing together, training together. So it's been a great experience past 5 years now.
you can bet that I'm planning more races. As far as road races go, I would really love to be able to do the Trans-American Bike Race in real life next year. So that is my goal, is to do that eventually in real life. As far as races right after I do it on RGT, I will be doing the TNGA, which is 350 miles of single track over the Appalachian Mountains. That is a self-supported race as well, and it's all through navigation, so that will be interesting. So that is what I have so far this year.
So I'm here with Claire Simon, who's taking part, sorry, not taking part, but assisting with the TABR for Kate, and we're going to have a little chat. So Claire, nice to meet you.
And to you.
Can I ask, what was it that first got you into cycling?
Well, it was kind of accidental, really, because my husband got into cycling. He got a road bike, so I thought I'd better get one. And then we went out riding together, and it went from there. But certainly to start with, I was really nervous about riding alongside him, unless he was about 6 feet apart from me. But that was how it started. And then I got into time trialing. There's a club near to where we live, and I became quite good at it, and then went from there, really.
Oh, that sounds great. And how long have you been cycling?
That was in 2009. I was still working then, so every sort of free minute I was jumping on a bike and training, and I've progressed since then.
Cool. And have you had any, what's your proudest moment or your biggest achievement?
Well, I used to race with my husband, and then he couldn't race anymore. So that kind of, I was kind of in his shadow a little bit, and that gave me confidence to ride with him. But then when he stopped riding, I thought, oh, well, I'm kind of on my own 2 feet now, and made my own way. And I started racing with British Masters Cycling. I've been a member of for quite a long time. And I learned to race at Milton Keynes Bowl, going around the crit, getting dropped and then jumping back on, and that was how I learned to race, and that's been brilliant for me. So I've then gone on to win lots of women's races at the Bowl. I train hard and worked hard, and the confidence that gave me was massive, and really, as a woman, I kind of suffered from lack of confidence, and that really did it good. And then I did some road racing as well with BMCR, and I think there's a couple of proud moments. One was accidentally winning a road race where everyone else in my age group kind of fell by the wayside. It was a wet, windy, muddy, horrible day, and I just kept going, and I ended up with the faster group, and realised at the end that I'd won. So unexpectedly winning a road race was just amazing. And then another highlight was time trialing. I won the national time trial series for the veterans in 2014. That was one beautiful Rose Bowl, and I only found out on Twitter. Somebody said, "Oh, you've won." I thought, well, I couldn't possibly, but I'd done all the events, and it was just amazing to win that. So the unexpected wins, I think, are the best ones. They're the least stressful, as opposed to working hard and thinking, oh, if I don't win this, then it's the end of the world.
It does sound fantastic. To have won anything sounds great, but you sound like you've done quite a bit there. So how did you meet Kate?
Well, it was on RGT. I joined RGT on the 1st of January this year, and it became apparent that she was very active, particularly with running the ladies racing, the rides, and she was also active in racing. And so I found that really encouraging. She was a very encouraging person on the ladies' rides, did a couple of rides with her, and then she wanted to advertise her ride, so I linked up with the BMCR ladies group, so made that link, and then just kind of got to know her through that, really, and just find her very inspirational and encouraging. And again, I think it's different being a woman, because we often, not all women, but a lot of women lack confidence. And she gave me that confidence to get involved more in RGT and the racing, and actually the team, the time trial team. So that's, she's been really inspirational in helping me develop through RGT.
That's fantastic. And moving forward with the TABR event starting very soon, what is it that you're doing to help with the TABR, and what have you been doing to help?
Well, I run a few groups, communication groups in our village, and I've run a few Facebook groups. And so I offered to help with her posting on Facebook and Instagram and the website and so on. So I'll be doing that every day for the TABR, starting on the 6th of June for 17 days. And the good thing about that is because we're 5 hours ahead in the UK, I can get a lot of stuff done before she starts riding. So it'll be in that cycle of posting, letting people know how her day went, letting people know what's happening the next day, lining up there's going to be a lot of speakers and the sponsors. So making sure all of the communications for that is slick and runs in the way that she wants it to run.
Yeah. And will you be posting up the ride links and the codes anywhere?
Yeah, they'll all be posted on Facebook. That's the TABR Facebook page specifically for that. And that can be accessed from Instagram and also from her website.
That sounds fantastic. Sounds like there's a lot going on behind the scenes. Sounds like you've been very instrumental in doing a lot of this, Claire.
Well, I haven't got to ride across America, but I can be part of it, which is my idea of fun, really. She's just an amazing, incredible, insane woman for taking this on, and I have no doubt she will achieve it in the way that she wants to do it. And it's just great to just be a small part of that and to take some of the admin work away from her so she can just concentrate on riding and recovering and achieving that fabulous goal.
That sounds fantastic. Well, we're all looking forward to watching her do it. And we've all got faith that she'll achieve it in the time that she wants to. So nice to meet you, Claire. And
thank you.
Catch up on Facebook. See you soon.
Great. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
My cycling adventures started about 4 years ago. It started with mountain biking. My husband had bought me a fat bike because I was constantly injured from running. My hamstring just wouldn't heal. I dealt with my hamstring for about 1.5 years. And he said maybe I should start biking. What I heard was you can't run anymore. I was stubborn and said I wouldn't like it and that he shouldn't buy it for me, but he did anyway, and I'm glad that he did. Absolutely loved it. My first ride on my fat bike, I had a grin from ear to ear, and it was just amazing. Ever since then, I've been on the bike. Absolutely love it. I can't say that I've ran, maybe a couple times since then, not very many. It's not my favorite anymore. And since I've been biking, other than crashing, I haven't had any injuries. So I love my fat bike. I upgraded last year to a Santa Cruz mountain bike, full suspension, loved it. And I decided, since I was getting faster and faster, I got to this point where I just couldn't get that much faster. So I decided I would pick up road cycling to help with that. It's definitely about finding that mental toughness that I have, finding that limit, knowing where that is. I haven't found that yet, as well as my physical limit. I'm so motivated to see where that limit is. Our bodies are fascinating and what it can do. And I'm all about trying to figure out what those limits are.
I can't just pick one. And this sounds silly, but it wouldn't be anybody famous. It would be, you know, my RGT family. All of them are all over the world. And if I could ride with anybody in person, it would be them. They have helped me to grow, go past my limits, to make me stronger. They have made me believe in myself. They're helping me make this possible, this tour possible. So I can't pick a famous person, and I can't pick just one. I would pick my RGT family, and all of you know who you are. So thank you guys. I currently ride a Cannondale Super X, so it's a hybrid bike gravel. It's a 2013. I bought it secondhand. There were 2 prior owners. I purchased it because I wasn't sure I was going to like road cycling. So obviously here I am. I've become addicted. So yeah, so looking to get an updated bike. There's no disc brakes on this bike. The shifting is SRAM and haven't been a fan of it. So definitely on the lookout for a new bike for sure.
Hey, are you looking for a great protein snack on the go that's not going to leave you that instant feeling of regret? Try Paleo Valley beef sticks. Paleo Valley beef sticks are farm-raised, made with 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Loaded with all the daily vitamins and nutrients your body needs to shine. Here at Paleo Valley, we prioritize health over profit, have a serious passion for environmental restoration, and animal welfare. Hey, buddy. Consider a higher quality protein snack you'll actually feel good about. Damn, that's good. Paleo Valley, because quality matters.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this special edition of Virtual Cycling News, where I'm joined by our special guest, Kate Ouellette-Kretzinger, who's going to be undertaking a very special challenge coming up starting this weekend on the RGT Cycling platform. How are you doing, Kate?
I'm doing well, Mike. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thanks. I think you have got a bit more of a challenge coming up in the next couple of weeks than I have, so why don't you tell us a little bit more about this great event that you're undertaking?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me here to talk about this. So I'm going to be doing the Trans-American Bike Race, which they call TABR for short. And it's basically across the United States. We start on the west side and work our way to the east. And due to the pandemic and everything going on and all the uncertainties, I'm actually doing it on RGT. So that'll be 4,200 miles, which is about, almost 7,000 kilometers. And it's about 183,000 feet, which is about 56,000 meters. So a lot of elevation as well as miles.
Certainly some big numbers.
Yes. We joke that.
Sunday?
Yes, that's this Sunday. So that'll be June 6th, correct. Mm-hmm.
And you're planning on doing this, is it 17 days? Is that right? That just sounds mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I think that my mind hasn't wrapped itself around that either. So I think if it did, I probably wouldn't do it. But yes, 17 days is what we're hoping for. The current woman record right now is 18 days and 10 minutes. So my goal is to do it in 17.
So this is obviously a huge challenge. I'm assuming you haven't just decided that this is going to be your first time on a trainer and you're going to give it a go. So how about a little bit of background? Have you always been a keen cyclist? Have you done much indoor cycling? How have you got started on RGT?
Yeah, so no, I have not always been into cycling. Just this past year, I picked up road cycling. Prior to that, I did do some mountain biking and all single track through the woods. That's my passion. I love doing that. I started off as a runner and I was always injured. So I ended up getting a bike, and I wasn't happy about getting the bike, but I got it and I absolutely loved it the first time I got on it. So I decided that I wanted to try road cycling just to see if I would like it, just because of the winter. It's really rough here. And so last year I bought a road cycle and loved it, and then decided to do this big adventure that I'm doing, starting on Sunday. And to do that, I needed to train through the winter as well. So I bought a trainer, and then I found RGT. The reason why I picked RGT was because we were able to upload the actual GPX files and ride the actual rides. And then my whole idea was to do that all winter long. When I found out that you had to do some cutting of the roads for the GPX files, I was like, well, I guess I won't be doing that. I'll just ride the roads that RGT has and all the magic roads that people put up. I'll just do that instead and get my mileage that way. So that's kind of how I found RGT.
And you're based up in New Hampshire, is that right?
Correct. Yes, up in the mountains.
Okay, so it does get quite cold there.
Yes, it does. We get a lot of snow.
Well, it sounds like with this great challenge, you're going to need some great support from your family as well. And what do they all make about this?
Well, they're very supportive in the fact that they would never tell me not to do something. They really think I'm crazy. They don't understand why I'm doing it, but they're very supportive in what I need emotionally, and obviously give me the space that I need to do the training for it as well. I've always taken things to the extreme. This is definitely extreme.
So we said it's going to be 17 days. I'm sure you've got a routine in mind for every day. How does that look like? Is your family involved with that as well? Or was it all just sort of self-supported and on your own?
Yeah, it's all self-supported. The actual TABR ride is self-supported. So there's two routes that you can do across America. One is called RAM and the other is TABR. So RAM is the Race Across America, and that is where you can have support bands. You've got a whole crew that can support you. The TABR is just yourself and self-supported. So that to me is very appealing. So I wanted to be able to do it that way. Well, since I'm going to be home, I'm going to do the same exact thing. I want it to be just self-supported. I don't want any help from anyone. And so there's a lot of prep this week to get ready for that. So cooking all my food, getting my area set up so that everything is just so very quick and self-sufficient. So every minute's going to count. And so I have my room set up, where I can just easily reach things and not have to reach too far. I don't have to get off my bike too often. So yeah, and obviously the laundry's got to happen too. So I'm set up right next to the laundry room. So everything is just so close together. I've even this week practiced sleeping on the floor instead of in my bed so that I'm still in the same room. So that was quite a challenge there too. But yeah, I think, just keeping to the plan. My team that I have has been very supportive, and also checking, my pace and the distances, and making sure that I'm done on time. So there's no stress for me to finish the road on time because we have a 4-hour limit. And so they've helped all that out. We worked in 15-minute breaks here and there, an hour break for lunch, just to kind of take a snooze if I need to. jump into some compression boots, do some, massaging of the shoulders if I need it, and then, continue riding. So it'll be about 16 and a half hours a day is what I'll be doing on the bike.
Yes, that's 240 miles a day. That's your target, isn't it? Over those 16 and a half hours.
Yeah. And some days will be more, some days will be less. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the average.
Average it out over those 17 days. And so all your food prep's done, and you, really cutting down the amount of time you have to spend each day faffing around, as we would say here.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
And it sounds like you've had really good support from the community as well. RGT is known, of course, for having great community spirit, and I'm sure there's a huge range of people you'd like to thank and who have been involved. And I'm sure over the broadcast, etc., you'll be thanking them all. But is there a couple that you just want to sort of highlight today, or is it a bit mean to try and just pick out 2 or 3?
Well, it is kind of mean to pick out 2 or 3, but there's 2 that really stick out the most, and I really love my team. I'm part of a team called Team Lou. They have been such a huge support, and since I've joined RGT as well, they've had more confidence in me most of the time than I did in myself. They've made me a stronger, rider, a faster rider. They've pushed me past my limits. They've seen frustration. I mean, they're just amazing. They've seen my frustration, I should say. So they've been really good. So I have to say thank you to them. And then obviously my ladies' rides that I host on the weekends, those ladies show up every weekend. We push each other. We, just kind of, some of us just need relaxing rides, and they did that too. Sometimes I just needed the distance, and they were there to keep me company. So those are the 2 that I would have to say, and they're just, the whole community is amazing. So I just have to say thank you to the whole community. Yeah,
that's great stuff. And how can the community support you during this event?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways that people can. Obviously, riding with me would be very helpful. I would love to have that. Having somebody on the road will be amazing. There's no drafting because we can't draft in real life, but just knowing someone's on the road that I can focus on to try and catch up with is really helpful to keep me on pace. So riding with me, you can find those rides in the RGT app. If you just search TABR, and that's TABR, you could do that way. Follow me on my Facebook page. My event page is K and the letter 8 does TABR on RGT. And the links will be posted every day. So that's another way. And then also we have a fundraiser going on. So if you can't ride with me and you don't have a Facebook page, which a lot of people don't these days, which is kind of surprising, you can actually support the foundation that we have, which is myositis, and for the UK. And that is just it's a rare disease that affects muscles. And so we're raising money for that as well, for awareness on that.
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic cause, and we're going to put the links underneath the video to your Facebook page and to the fundraising page as well, so it's easy for people to find.
Thank you.
So finally, just good luck with everything, and maybe it's too early to say, but have you got any plans for after this? And how about riding the real thing? Is that in the works?
Oh, yes. So if my family still wants to be with me after this, I would love to do it in real life next year. But yes, definitely this in real life. I was kind of disappointed I wouldn't be able to see all the, the beautiful sights and just experience being outdoors. But I hope to do that next year. And then I have a lot of single track races that I want to do that are considered adventure rides instead of races, because they're pretty extreme, where you need a GPS to get through those rides. So I have a couple of those planned as well. So yeah, lots of more adventures to come, big ones for sure.
Oh, brilliant. Well, good luck with the ride. I'm going to try and make sure that I can join you on a few of the days. I'll have plenty of opportunity, as you will be out there for so long.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mike. It'd be great to see you out there.
And just a shout out to the community as well, just to get involved, and click those links below, follow the live streams, get out and ride as well, and give Kate all the support that you can manage.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Kate, and good luck, and we'll see you out on the road.
Great, thank you.
masterpiece? Why, yes, it is a masterpiece.
I have many dream bikes. If I were to pick just a few, I love the Specialized Tarmac. That's one I would love. Scott Addict RC is another. And then maybe the Trek Endomonda would be the other one. Edmonda, excuse me. Those three would be my top picks. But I think anything above my 2013 Cannondale that I have would be a huge step up and I would be happy with. So those three would be my first pick, but honestly, I'm not that picky.
in the water. You are paddleboarding next to approximately 15 great white sharks. They're advising that you exit the water in a calm manner. The sharks are as close as the surf line. Thank you for your cooperation.
Grass-fed beef organs by Ancestral Supplements. New Zealand sourced nose-to-tail organ meats, liver, and bone marrow in simple, convenient gelatin capsules. Beef organs and bone marrow are the most effective foods to support energy, digestion, and fundamental health. It's incredibly insightful to see how animals in the wild instinctively go for the organs and the bone marrow first, leaving the muscle meats for the birds. Beef organs provide concentrated amounts of vitamin A, choline, folate, B12, copper, heme iron, coenzyme Q10, and digestive enzymes that are now absent from the modern diet. Still not sure where to start or what's best for your situation? You're not alone. Just reach out to us and see what we can do for you.
Funniest memory. So 2 years ago, I entered a triathlon as a team. So it was David, my significant other, and a friend of his. So none of us had ever done a triathlon. Our swimmer had never swam in open water. So we were not expecting much. So our swimmer got out of the water second, and the swimmer had to tag me. So I jumped on my mountain bike, and it was my husband's mountain bike, not mine. So it was a little big, and it was old. So I took off, and I could see, as I came around this corner, the first place person in front of me. I wanted so badly to catch him, and it was uphill. So I did the rookie mistake of shifting on the hill and the chain fell off. Now, I had never ridden his bike. I had never used clipless before. So I was clipped in. You can only imagine what happened. So we were on these back roads, they were all dirt, and the chain fell off. I fell over. I couldn't unclip fast enough. I'm in the ditch with my feet stuck in the pedals sideways, and a car drives by and asks if I need help. And I was just sitting there laughing. I couldn't even answer. I was laughing so hard. But I told him, thank you, no. And I had to take my shoes off to get them out of the clips because I couldn't get leverage to unclip. So I was still able to get back on the bike. I had like, I want to say 3 people pass me. I was able to pass a couple back. So we finished second overall, despite my falling over and despite me going the wrong direction at one point in the race after I'd fallen off. So that was a funny memory, something that always sticks out when people ask me about, you know, a funny moment of cycling. That was actually funny. I was laughing so hard I had tears, like I couldn't get off my bike. My feet were just locked in, and not having any experience with clipless was just foolish. I didn't get to even practice with them. So yeah, that was a great experience and a funny moment for sure.
Well, gentlemen, perhaps we wouldn't be where we are today if we hadn't said to ourselves,
Hey, are you looking for a great protein snack on the go that's not going to leave you that instant feeling of regret? Try Paleo Valley beef sticks. Paleo Valley beef sticks are farm-raised, made with 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Loaded with all the daily vitamins and nutrients your body needs to shine. Here at Paleo Valley, we prioritize health over profit, have a serious passion for environmental restoration, and animal welfare. Hey, buddy. Consider a higher quality protein snack you'll actually feel good about. Damn, that's good. Paleo Valley, because quality matters.
gentlemen, double gentlemen, double
I'm Claire Simon, and I'm joined this afternoon all the way from sunny Manchester by Riley Harvey. Good afternoon, Riley.
Hi, Claire.
Riley, you're going to be contributing to Kate riding across America. But before we get on to that, tell us a little bit about how you got into cycling.
So I've been cycling all my life. Started as a kid, as most people do, and commuted everywhere until about 23 when I learned to drive. And then the bike got put in the shed for a bit and I took a bit of a sabbatical. And then as I got a bit older and I stopped getting taller and started getting wider, I dragged the bike back out again and started doing some more serious riding to stay a bit thinner and fitter and healthier.
Great. And you said a little bit more serious. So what's your proudest moment from your cycling?
Well, I've not done anything immense. The biggest thing for me probably I did a cycle ride from Manchester to York for charity in the memorial of one of my friends who died. He was a keen cyclist, so we do a little ride every year to remember him. Rather than doing something morbid, we do something a bit active and interesting. So that we did that a few years ago, 5 years ago. That's probably one of my longest serious rides. We did that at a good pace.
And that's a great way to honour somebody's memory.
Yeah, it's much better than a lot of other things you could be doing. So
yeah. And going on to the TABR then, how did you meet Kate?
I'm quite active on the Facebook forum for RGT, and when I was in the middle of a lockdown, spent quite a lot of time actually on the platform. So Kate popped up and made herself very noticed very quickly. She likes to chat and she likes to post quite a lot. So we got to know each other over Facebook and met up on rides on RGT as well.
Oh, great. And how did that develop then into you undertaking a role for TABR, and what will you be doing?
So Kate was intending to do TABR this year in real life, but for a few different reasons, she's decided that she's going to do it virtually. So she approached me through Facebook to see if I could help her out with a few of the technical details and to try and make sure that it ran smoothly for her. So I've been helping her make sure that she was set up. Everything that she can do for the setup on a computer side was done as the best way it could be done, and I put her in touch with some of the staff at RGT to help her get everything set up and running smoothly.
That sounds like a massive undertaking, because if she's doing it virtually, then all the technical side of things is going to be critical. So will you be providing that technical support throughout the ride?
We are hoping that we've got everything set up well enough that it'll run smoothly, but I will be there for a lot of the time, just on the sidelines, making sure that we're all going smoothly. If there's amendments need to be made to the routes, I'll be doing that on the fly as we go through, but hopefully everything will be running quite smoothly and straightforward.
Well, she's very, very fortunate to have you to be able to provide that reassurance and to hopefully keep the show on the road. So thank you, Riley. No pressure for the TABR on the technical side of things, but it sounds like you've got it all under control. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. See you on the road.
Riley Harvey, you will always be my hero. If I were to pick someone, would have to be Yolanda Neff. She's a pro cross-country biker. I love her story and I love the background in her, but last year she had an accident and actually was almost fatal. She had injured her spleen, but she's back. She's back to racing and she's right up there again. So Yolanda Neff definitely is one of my heroes. Outside of the cycling world, I'd have to say it's Michael Jordan. MJ is just phenomenal. He pushed himself, he pushed his teammates, he had faith in his teammates when they didn't. He was a true leader. He helped them get better as a team. And I've always admired him ever since I was younger. I do have to say, since he stopped playing basketball, I've never watched it after that. He was the main reason. So yeah, MJ would be my non-cyclist hero. Longest race I've ever done was the Tour de Monde virtually on RGT. I haven't done any other races, road races, period. I'm new to this, so new to cycling, road cycling. So I haven't done any other races other than virtual ones. And the longest ones were the TDM. honestly, there's always room for more. I feel like it's a pair of shoes. You need one for each sport that you do, especially for road, right? One for your trainer, one for outside, makes it much nicer. So yeah, there's always room for more. As it stands, I already have a fat bike that I use in the winter with studded tires. I also have a Santa Cruz full-on suspension carbon frame that I use for my single track riding that I do. So why not have more road bikes? I'm a big believer in it's not a one size fits all. You should have multiple and one for each occasion. So yeah, definitely room for more. Do I do any other sports? Yeah, for sure. I am an adrenaline junkie. I love always moving. So definitely surfing. I love to surf. I love to ski. Although I haven't done that in the past 8 years. I love to ice climb. I love to rock climb. I'm trying to think of all the other ones. And I used to play soccer up until about a couple years ago. And so yeah, that was, I think anything that has to do with moving is definitely my cup of tea. I don't like to sit still. I don't sit still for very long, and I don't do it well.
Grass-fed liver and bone marrow by Ancestral Supplements. New Zealand sourced nose-to-tail organ meats, liver and bone marrow. In simple, convenient gelatin capsules. Beef liver and bone marrow are the most effective foods to support health and wellness. It's incredibly insightful to see how animals in the wild instinctively go for the liver and the bone marrow first, leaving the muscle meats for the birds. Liver and bone marrow provide concentrated amounts of vitamin A, choline, folate, B12, copper, heme iron, and fat-soluble activators that are now absent from the modern diet. Still not sure where to start and what's best for your situation? You're not alone. Just reach out to us and see what we can do for you.
Oh, hey. Are you looking for a great protein snack on the go that's not going to leave you that instant feeling of regret? Try Paleo Valley beef sticks. Paleo Valley beef sticks are farm-raised, made with 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Loaded with all the daily vitamins and nutrients your body needs to shine. Here at Paleo Valley, we prioritize health over profit, have a serious passion for environmental restoration, and animal welfare. Hey, buddy. Consider a higher quality protein snack you'll actually feel good about. Damn, that's good. Paleo Valley, because quality matters.
A masterpiece? Why, yes, it is a masterpiece.
Grass-fed beef organs by Ancestral Supplements. New Zealand sourced nose-to-tail organ meats, liver, and bone marrow in simple, convenient gelatin capsules. Beef organs and bone marrow are the most effective foods to support energy, digestion, and fundamental health. It's incredibly insightful to see how animals in the wild instinctively go for the organs and the bone marrow first, leaving the muscle meats for the birds. Beef organs provide concentrated amounts of vitamin A, choline, folate, B12, copper, heme iron, coenzyme Q10, and digestive enzymes that are now absent from the modern diet. Still not sure where to start or what's best for your situation? You're not alone. Just reach out to us and see what we can do for you.